Welcome everyone. We are excited to have you join the cybersecurity in the age of autonomous AI. I would like to introduce our speakers, and actually I'm going to ask the speakers to introduce themselves. We are going to start with, how about we start with Nim Nadaraja? You are a CISO chief, CISO, PMP, MBA. You're with Critical Matrix. Welcome, if you could.
Thank you, Elena. I'm the CISO Critical Matrix and managing partner. Been in the business for 30 years, and our company specializes in cyber data and identity and governance. Looking forward to having this fun session with all of you.
Excited to have you. We have got Alex Plotkin, um, Chief Information Security,
Oh,
CISO,
well, I'm Ismail, yeah. So
a
I'm a CEO
CEO.
of a
You're also a
cyber.
CEO of Cyberwall.
That's right. I'm CEO of Cyberwall. We provide different cybersecurity services, mostly SMB market. I'm also advisor and a member of two companies that specializing in AI and developing different AI tools. So I actually trying to live on this edge between security and AI, and hope we'll have a very nice, interesting conversation today. And thank you for having me.
Excited to have you. We also have got a Dr. Mike Saylor, also a CEO of Black Swan Cybersecurity, and you're also a professor and an expert of cybersecurity, AI, information security. And welcome. I hear it's warm in Texas.
Parts of Texas are warm, yes. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. We also have got Mehri Yahei. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, it's right.
And you are a cybersecurity analyst.
Yes. First of all, nice to meet you all guys tonight, and thanks for having me. Actually, yes, I'm a senior manager of security lab in the lab. We are assessing and evaluating the products and solutions based on the international standards like common criteria, and the field is, focusing on the product certification. And as we know already, the most of famous vendors in the world, they are introducing their products to get the security certificate. For example, Apple, Microsoft, Cisco, and Oracle, and the other vendors. So thank you once again for having me tonight. I'm looking forward to have a great session. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Great to have you join us. So, AI and cybersecurity, it's a big topic. With AI and agentic AI, we have got amazing applications for business. We have got autonomous AI agents that can take actions on your behalf. We can deliver a lot of business value. But on the other side, unfortunately, the same technology is now used for attacks. And cybersecurity is a big thing. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. We are all here today to discuss how do autonomous AI agents change that speed and that cycle of cyber attacks? And what it is that you're seeing in your business. Many of you are CEOs of companies, you're working hands-on. How are you seeing this? And what do we need to do to make sure that our defensive AI agents are able to adapt? So I'm going to throw this out if anyone wants to get us started.
I'll start. So yeah, one of the biggest things that AI, or probably one of the first things that AI that we've seen from an adversarial perspective has helped bad guys with is the reconnaissance. So quickly collecting and collating data that could have taken them, hours or days or sometimes weeks in planning an attack or developing a campaign. They can do it in no time at all. Actually, I did a live demonstration on a phishing attack campaign development that on a traditional scale would take maybe a couple of hours to do. AI helped facilitate that in 37 seconds, and so that's everything from reconnaissance to template and campaign development, email address reconnaissance and development, spoofing the email, delivering the email, all of that much, exponentially faster, just from a reconnaissance perspective. So that's just one example on the adversarial side. And then on the defensive side, very similarly, using AI to do a lot of more creative, innovative data analysis. We've got tools out there that are doing good stuff, but from a traditional sense. So how can we look at data differently? How can we collate and assess a bigger data set much faster outside of the box of traditional tools? And then from a consumption perspective, how do we allow our teams on the defensive side to consume that new data? And a lot of times it's a lot of data. How do we make it more consumable and actionable? As we're ramping up to address new threats, it has been a game changer.
Interesting. Maybe
May
someone
I
else
add
could.
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
May I add something? Yeah. Actually, as Dr. Mike mentioned, I can see that autonomous AI attack agents are becoming more dominant, and these systems will conduct actually reconnaissance, as Dr. Mike mentioned, identify vulnerabilities and adopt exploitations, and they are actually dynamically. So, from a life cycle management view, another series of concerns is AI-driven data poisoning, targeting enterprise machine learning models. So it seems that organizations must treat AI system as a critical asset and applying secure, for example, machine learning operations controls, continuous validations, and model integrity monitoring. So, based on my experience, I can say that AI without governance quickly becomes systematic risk exposure rather than actually innovation advantage. Yeah.
I think what we're used to is um, coming up with security solutions around polymorphic patterns that we've seen before, right? It's the same thing, but it looks different, so it must be the same thing. So, you come that becomes a threat that you're going after. What we need to master in an AI versus AI defense mechanism is how do you accommodate for the adaptive learning built into the adversarial AI? Because it is going to detect your mitigating control and it's going to try to go around it. It's expecting a certain thing and it's going to deflect around it. So as it's transforming and as it's changing, how are our defense mechanisms also almost like sparring in karate? How are you going to learn to block these different things, moves that it's doing as it's learning your defense pattern and adopting so it can attack you, right? This is going to be a real challenge because nowadays to a great extent, we're still very heuristic, very pattern-based defense mechanisms.
I think that's the bad guys versus the good guys. The good guys, there's the bad guys. It's a 100 years old story. It's just new tools. And the weakest link in our defense, it's usually how they say that the defense is as strong as the weakest link
Yeah.
in your chain. So I still think and here I'm with Mike, I think that's the tools that AI provides to the threat actors can do reconnaissance, can do what we spent a day before that was awesome tools to find information about persons can be done today in 15 seconds. And then the same agent, after they receive information, can draft the email that will be so personal. That's the chance that you will click on it and do what it tells you to do, raised from maybe 15% just 2 years ago to about 60-70% today. And we see it right now. Like the training that we do to companies to employ, I don't want to say useless, but we still train them, don't click to check your domain, everything. But AI already told them that's his dog that's visited his veterinary just last week. and that's a coupon for your dog food in your local store, and you're going to click on it because someone who sent you this email, he knows you. He knows that you have dog. He knows where you're going to shop for the food for this dog. So you feel like they know you. You already have some level of trust, and you're going to click. From the moment you clicked on this link, like Mike says, you said that 37 seconds or whatever, and that's it. And the bad guys having full control of my PC or my information or access to all my passwords, right? It's depending on what behind this link. And yes, the good guys create new tools, and we're much, much, much smarter today than we were like even a year ago with AI as well. But as long as people will, and before that, then like you had to put significant effort to identify personal information to draft such a personalized email. Today with AI, you can run the campaign for thousands of people in a matter of hours, and with 50% success rate of people clicking, it's very hard to stop it. And statistics that IBM or Deloitte, all these guys provide, it's email will be involved in more than 70% of breaches, or third step, or second step, or third step of the attack, but it will be there. So if we gain the success rate to 50% from 15, it's become very, very hard to protect our employees or our own environment from these smart agents that know about us much more than our friends, family, and everybody else, right?
That
And
is
they,
actually very disturbing, I have to say.
100%.
Some statistics that I read recently, half of those AI-related security breaches and incidents and those attacks were in the finance and the healthcare industries. And those are our most vulnerable areas. That's the private data, that's your finance, and that's your health information. And unfortunately, it's costing billions of dollars. And there was, I don't know if you've seen those, the scams, the deep fakes, that is increasing tremendously. So,
I,
with more enterprises trying to mitigate this and combat this, what are you thinking? Do we even have a chance? Where do we stand on all of this? Because the more I read, the more I get scared, and I'm thinking, well, where is this all going as AI becomes much more sophisticated? It's very difficult to tell now a real video versus a deepfake video. So, with more enterprises deploying
I mean,
autonomous AI to mitigate, how do you manage?
Alina, I have a cool story. We have a client that is, a 6,000, 7,000 user, big company that um, they realized they had a problem, but they didn't realize they had actually hired four people who represented themselves in the interview using a deep fake. And it took months before they realized that the person that was on the Teams meeting wasn't the person coming to work every day.
wow.
Wow.
And the deepfake, I guess, chain got broken when the interviewer made a joke. The manager made a joke during an in-person, like everybody come into the building, right? Um, and he said, "Wow, Bob, how come you're not laughing at this joke? You were like crying during the interview when I mentioned this joke." And and then he's like, you know what? Something didn't feel right. I thought this person like appreciated this humor, and he didn't. So they started looking into it, and they realized more and more it's not the same person. And then they found others in the organization who also was part of the same scheme. Anyway, long story short, they were all let go. And now they use a special deepfake detection tool that runs on Zoom, Teams, and WebEx on every single HR meeting.
We're seeing that in academia also. We're seeing bots sign up for classes in order to get financial aid money, and then they just disappear.
Yeah.
And so we're having, because schools that offer online classes, we've now got to do at least one in-person telecall where they show we can see their face and they've got their government ID and that kind of thing. And they've got to accomplish that within the first week or so of class, or they get dropped. But yeah, it's cost higher ed institutions millions of dollars in financial aid money
Yeah.
because of these fraudulent, bot
Well,
students.
we're talking about universities and big enterprises, but it's now public knowledge, so it's not secret. Before, very known cybersecurity company for more than a year paid salary to North Korean hackers. They had, I believe, 6 people on the payroll for more than a year. And if company like before, that's the whole business. It's about training on the employees, email security. Um, Very famous people work there in a senior position. We're not able to identify 6 people working from North Korea.
Mhm.
That's actually troubling very much. I can tell you for now, I do. You want to work for Cyberwall, you have to show up at least for one in-person interview. Like I know it's limiting my ability to hire people from places far from Toronto, but at least now I wanted to show up in my office with your ID and I know who you are. We work for cybersecurity. We protect financial institutions, right? Our clients trust us. I cannot take the chance that's the guy behind one of these black squares right now sitting in China or North Korea, right? So, but I am not doomer. I don't say everything is bad. I can tell you, I saw in the last 2 weeks at least 3 startups that's actually developed the good technology. That's like Mike said, you add it to your Teams, your Zoom. That's actually trying to identify if the person in front of you actually AI or utilize AI. So we saw one case that's actually, and it's publicly available. You can download the AI agent that will listen my English, translate it right away in other language, and provide the answer in English right away. So if you're interviewing someone, this someone even doesn't have to speak English. Like literally, AI does for him everything. You just need to sit there and show his face if he wants to show his face, and don't want to run AI avatar as well, right? But there are new tools, and I think the more people trying to fight this, the more new ideas will be developed, the better tools will be on the market. Like I saw at least 3 companies just in the last 2 weeks.
And if I could, real quick, one of the things that came to mind while you were talking, Alex, is there are these tools out there, and whether it's an AI tool to help me do my job or an AI tool for HR to detect deep fakes, where we've got all these AI AI capabilities at our fingertips. And one of the things that organizations are really behind on is something that Mary mentioned, and I think it's governance. How do we make sure
Guide
that we're
rails.
right? Well, and guardrails from its use, but also guardrails from the organization's not only acceptance and policy on AI, but the technical people's awareness. So your IT team or your security team or your compliance team is now aware of the AI technologies that have been approved to use in the company and how they're approved to be used. And then, can we monitor its use? And then what do we do if someone's misusing it or trying to do something differently? And so without good governance, and a good example of that is now there's AI plugins for your email client that says,
Okay.
when I get an email invoice that comes in, and back to Alina's comment about financial and health sector targets, that's high transaction, critical transactions with healthcare and financial, and all those people are overworked, and they've got so much to do. They just want to get through their inbox. Well, now I'm going to put an AI that says when I get an invoice from somebody I know that says invoice, pay it. And if I can corrupt that AI, or if I understand that business process, I can send an email, spoofed as a vendor to try and get you to pay me. And so if we don't have guardrails or rules around how we integrate AI into our business day and use it to help us do our job, then the problem's going to get really bad. And I think that the term for that is shadow AI now, just like shadow IT.
Yeah.
So you're just without good awareness and training and policy in your organization, users may start to integrate unknown and possibly unruly AI into their workflows.
I think like they always
From
say, garbage in, garbage out. It's not just AI, it's related to any IT
Yes.
technology. We have one client that's enable Copilot to everyone, and suddenly AI have access to everything. And now a person who works in HR can run the inquiry on a financial question and receive what's the salary of any employee, because now we have access to the financial, to the payroll system, right? Like nobody thought about it when they implemented Copilot for everyone.
I
Yeah.
think the problem too is when we talk about AI, everyone is sticking to a traditional thought process of AI, replying to emails, scanning documents, data guardrails, labeling, classification, sensitivity, retention, blah, blah, blah. But, I was having a conversation with a client saying, nothing you mentioned there to me is AI. I'm more worried about the employee that's going to create a Copilot agent that is going to do the querying in a non-prompt basis to go scan the data and come back with
Mm-hmm.
answers. And he stood there with his mouth open saying, "Oh, I don't think we have people that can do that." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" You go into Copilot, you click on agent, it gives you a library of agents to choose from. You pick one and you start writing and it figures it out for you. And this is the true threat is we've now literally given um, a massive weapon to people who don't have the training on how to use the weapon to
And
their
so,
data to
if I may,
themselves.
hi guys, thanks. Good conversation. Tim Montoya with East West Bank, cybersecurity risk management. So insider threat's always a concern, right? Limiting what tools, what AI agents, sources that can be used, access management, agent API control, secure, yes, configuration management, go down the list. But what about from a aspect of behavioral analytics are you seeing implemented that can identify map patterns, right? And getting signal patterns, pushing out the chaff and the noise out of the signal, right? So you can focus in on what are the normal patterns of business. So you identify those outliers, those anomalies that might show patterns of insider abuse or threats that are not inside of your segmented environments where you're saying that's allowed to happen or you expect those kinds of non-consistent patterns. What are you guys seeing implemented and used for risk identification?
there are
May I jump
cyber
in? Sorry.
real quick, there are tools that have evolved recently, and some of those are enhancements to tools that have been out for a while, like traditional SIM or OpenXDR platforms that can analyze data from disparate sources and develop baselines and look for behavioral deviations. That kind of thing has been around for maybe the last 4 or 5 years at a somewhat mature level. And the advent or integration of more recent ML AI capabilities in those tools have really helped develop that next level of analysis. But and I can't remember if it was Nim or Alex that said garbage in, garbage out. You're limited to the data you're ingesting or the scope of your analysis. And so in a lot of cases, that comes down to economics. So I've got, 150 gigs a day of data ingestion. Well, that correlates to X dollars a month in storage. And whether you're doing it yourself or through a managed service provider, well, I can't afford to ingest everything. So let's build use cases and prioritize and look at data sources. And that's how you kind of, that's the exercise that organizations typically go through. Well, in doing so, you're eliminating maybe something that's not a priority, but man, that those additional attributes and uh, activities or data sets could definitely assist in whatever analysis that you could potentially have missed in identifying unusual behavior, unauthorized access, an odd transaction. Um, so it all, my favorite word in IT is in cyber is it depends. It depends on your objectives. It depends on your budget. It depends on your staff and your skills and all those things. And at some point, you've got to do your self-assessment and come down to what's manageable, affordable, realistic, consumable. But yeah, there are tools out there. There are evolving tool sets. There are, and it's usually not just one thing. Like I can't just go call or install this one thing. It's usually a combination of at least a couple.
May I just add, so you mentioned SIEM XDR, but we're forgetting that's what's called UBA, User Behavioral Analytics. This platform exists for, I don't know, at least 10 years. It
Yeah.
just usually, exactly like you said, the company say, oh, we don't have enough budget, so let's do just SIEM because that's what insurance regulation want. And we will forget for now or postpone for a few years UBA implementation because it's mostly for internal risk, right? And we kind of trust our employees. But that's exactly when you can see when someone accessing information that's not allowed to or not supposed to,
Yeah,
right?
and UBA, you have to set a normal pattern, right? Establish a normal baseline pattern. If you establish that pattern after your rogue AI, shadow AI usage is already underway, now you're setting your baseline while you have insider threat already
Yes and
occurring.
no.
Yeah,
Go into that. Help me with that. You said yes or no?
No, you
yeah,
still
no,
can save your organization from another rogue AI agent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you missed
yeah.
one, but at least you will prevent it. Prevention is always cheaper and better and faster than remediation.
Oh yeah.
Um, and if I wanted to add something to this discussion, I wanna say that that from my view, this is not just about security. It's about trust. And in terms of trust, actually, we need an AI security architecture. And it's, in my opinion, it's beyond of the some tools or methodologies. And we need an integrated architecture. And based on my experience in the evaluation process, I see that the most sophisticated evolution actually is multi-layered AI driven impersonation. For example, based on the financial solutions in security evaluation practice, we now observe attackers combining AI-based open source intelligence analysis, contextual email generation, and even real-time voice cloning to simulate executives during financial approvals. We can see it in a real evaluation. So what makes this dangerous is not just realism, but automation and persistence at scale. From an assurance perspective, the solution is not just simply deploying better filters. We must redesign verification mechanisms, actually including out-of-band transactions approval, behavioral anomaly detection, and actually stricter governance over executive digital exposure. So, as I mentioned, this is not just about phishing, spoofing, or whole security problem. It's just about trust and an architecture problem.
We
And it's
definitely
also
agree with.
about, sorry, Lena, to Tim's question, it's about also creating systemic boundaries for your own supervisory AI controls. So what is the system allowed to do without permission? So creating it in a parameterized way where it will go to a certain point and then request permission um, is also a way to stop that, kind of autonomous deviation or somebody else commanding the AI. And from an insider risk perspective, is also setting thresholds between um, what I would call normal human behavior timing versus systemic timing.
Yeah.
There's no way Alina, as good as she is going to open 500 files within 30 seconds, right? So if you have 500 modified files or access files in within 30 seconds, that is probably something we need to investigate. Something's happening there that shouldn't happen.
We have a question from Josh.
Yeah, it's a question about trust, and I think we use trust a lot in cybersecurity, and we're going to hear it more and more around agentic engineering and
Yes.
AI and how it's applied in all these organizations. And what what I feel is that trust is more of a human subjective structure, and construct than it is a something that we can really apply to these types of systems. It's to me, it's more about, that risk mitigation and that risk understanding and how we work within the risk. What's your thoughts on that?
Completely agree.
Uh,
And just real quick, if you're familiar with the AWS outage or the Amazon outage not too long ago, an engineer gave AI access to code. Long story short, the AI thought the code was corrupt or could be improved upon, so it deleted all the code, and that caused the outage, obviously. But when the engineer was training the AI, there was a level of trust there, and he thought that his what he had established was something he could rely on, only to find out that the AI betrayed that trust and the rules that were put in place um, for assessing this code and helping this engineer.
Wait, that wasn't DNS?
That's another one.
I couldn't
That's
help
another,
myself.
yeah, that's another one. But I think, and that's to the George question, I think AI agents learning not always the best things from us. They also learn not the best things from us. It was about a month ago. There is one engineer that was responsible to admit it was about open source project. His name, I wrote it for myself, Scott Chamber. He rejected submission of the code change for open source project for code that was written by AI. Actually, he didn't know that. What happened, this AI agent went on a bunch of social media platform and started to blame him into discrimination, hypocrisy, and other stuff. And it was AI agent, right? So this AI agent was trained by someone behave like this, right? So it's again back to trust. We're assuming that the AI agent just learned from the best of us and the best behavior of us, but that's not always the case.
How many of you have heard about Moldbook, the AI agent social network that just sprouted, I think about a month ago or so? They
Yeah.
managed to get, they actually literally, it just started. So I know many of you are laughing. A social network for autonomous AI agents. They
yeah.
managed to get something like 1.5 million autonomous AI agents registered and something like 17,000 humans where the AI hires the human to do its jobs. But what's interesting, they had a breach in February, just now. They just had a breach, and the impact was huge. They managed to leak thousands upon thousands of API keys, database credentials. This thing was huge, and no one is talking about this, and everyone is saying, "Oh, how amazing! It's a wonderful social experiment." But it's just picking up, and yes, there are new ways, and there's new McDonald's actually had something recent as well. They didn't have in their HR system, they managed to expose somehow something like 64 million job application records in that case. And this happened because, well, no strong passwords, no MFA, no security, no guardrails, and that tends to be scary. So we often say, so I build actually AI agents with my team. We even teach it. You can join AI Future Leaders for some of our courses on how to build AI agents. And we often say, let's put that human in the loop. So my question to you is, Is that even possible? And you're right, Alina is not quick enough to look at 50,000 or 500,000 documents in 30 seconds. So is human in the loop an approach that's viable?
I think at this stage of, let's call it our relationship with AI. I don't know even how to call it differently. The man, I see it in the SOC. Okay, the amount of alerts that's received from SIEM, if you just go and tell AI go and block everything, and the enterprise will help. Just everything will be stopped. So you still need analysts, and again, assuming AI was flagging only really suspicious activities, we still have SOC analysts reviewing it. Yes, the work become much more efficient. So instead of spending 30 minutes to assess the alert, it's now just few minutes, but we still have the person making the final decision to block or not to block, unless it's obvious above 90% validity that it's some attack. We still have human in the loop to make the final decision.
Actually, I think in the near future, we're gonna have some protester against AI because they are losing their jobs. So I think that we need to, have the human always in the procedures, in the, organizations, and because of the, it's like a ecosystem and the humanity. So, but in this case, yeah, I completely agree with Alex because I think that automation, yes, is increasing operational efficiency, but there are some concerns about the decision power, as Alex mentioned. Yeah, and uh, actually AI confidence scoring, predefined escalations thresholds, and the traceable decision logs. Actually, they are essential, and I think that high impact actions obviously must have clear accountability ownership. So, from an assurance perspective, because when we are talking about assurance level, not just functional level, I think that automation should be auditable, measurable, and reversible. And the goal should be an intelligent augmentations, not autonomous opposites. So we need at the end of this procedure a human to make the decision and to audit the procedure and who's gonna make sure that everything was done properly.
I have a controversial perspective on this, and it's interesting. I'm willing to be challenged. I think AI knows humans are lazy. And I think the challenge we're going to have is today, the machine is the interface to the means, but it's going to transform to where the human is the interface by the means. So the machine is going to start using us, telling us what we do, and our response to that is going to be based on something convenient that we just want to get done because we're lazy. And this has been consistent with the adaptation of technology and the evolution through to the fourth industrial revolution. Anytime there's a new form of technology available to us, we find a way to become lazier and lazier along with it. And this is what's going to happen where AI is going to take the lead and we're just like, oh, okay, yeah, what's up? Like, what do I need to do now? Like, I need to actually do something. So we are going to become the convenient interface for AI as opposed to AI being the interface for us.
We're
I
seeing that
actually
to
heard.
some degree today, and AI is going through our inbox and telling us what our priorities are for the day.
Yeah.
And to some degree, we're not even questioning it. We're going, oh, all right. So, and now I've got justification. So I feel I feel validated in my activities for the day because AI, misplaced trust, told me what I need to be working on. And I think similarly, to your point about new technologies coming out, I mean, look at the iPhone. Uh, and especially in the US, we are such a consumer society. We do not read the manual or the instructions. We just want it, whatever is new and shiny, and it's going to help us do less. Be lazy, and we're just going to try and use it without really understanding it. And so I think AI, to your point, has already started to uh, materialize in that manner.
I just want to say something short about each one what you mentioned. So first, Mary, you mentioned that governance should be the first and foremost for implementation of AI. So now think about it, 10 million people going to be out of job just because
Yeah.
Amazon truck drives and taxis will
Yes.
drive without a driver, right? So that's
Yeah.
where the government, and I really don't like to rely on government, like in anything in my life, but that's where the 10 million people actually now depend on the government to slow down the deployment and implementation of AI. What Mike just said, that's actually there's a funny, it was literally last week, director of AI safety in Meta, whose inbox managed by AI agent, all her emails were deleted by AI agent because he decided it's not relevant anymore. Okay, so yeah, it's not just managing our inbox, it just went and deleted everything. It's the person who is actually responsible for the safety of AI. Right. And in what you just mentioned, I truly believe that's exactly what's going to happen. And I put my doomer's hat, and I'm afraid we will just much more stupid than we are today. Like I saw research the measured IQ of the taxi driver in London 20 years ago, like 15 years ago, and after implementation of a GPS and automatic
Yes,
driver systems,
exactly.
the average IQ of a taxi driver in London is 15 years later, well, 10 points less. So think about what it's talking about the humanity that's now we have AI agent, not just telling us where to go, but responding to our emails, to do shopping for us. We just can relax and nothing. What will be challenging for us? How are you going to, why are we going to read the book if AI can just do summary for me for the war and the peace in just two paragraphs, right? Like,
Yes, exactly. Because of that, I mentioned that, in my opinion, in the near future, people, gonna be as a protester against AI, because they don't have anything to do. There is no challenge for them to solve it,
yeah.
and yeah, they are just they have to just relax, and they can lie in the beach, and so just use the sun, just it. And I think that it is inevitable, that we can see that the speed of technologies are very crazy, and it is inevitable. I can understand it, but I think that we can remember the pandemic duration. Do you remember? The world was paused, and we had to get a review of our life and what we should do now. So I think that um, it is inevitable. I can understand it, and but I think personally, I think that in the near future, people gonna stop the speed of raising and using the AI, in my opinion. And because we cannot, compete with it
No.
in a fair play. And so I think that it's a philosophical topic.
The
That's
problem,
I
it's
we
think
too
have to,
far.
yeah,
It's a bit too far now. And there was
yeah,
already a hunger strike in front of Anthropic offices. Many
yeah.
researchers signed on. They were sitting there. Not much came out because, unfortunately, it's an economy and the AI is already out of the box. We have got one more question for the evening. Josh, if you wanna.
It's not necessarily a question, but I hear I heard the doom saying, and I want to like leave it on a positive note for everybody. I have a saying that I've started using is AI will do what you did yesterday. AI can't do what you'll do tomorrow. And we as humans, we've created this technology. This technology is around our data and our information. It's not generating new data and new information. That's us. We are those sensors. We are what it's ingesting. So as we create new things and as we explore new emerging technologies and new emerging opportunities that are on the backs of this technology, it will follow along, but it's not going to push past us. And that's how I feel about it. So something to think about. I wanted to leave that with the group.
I can tell you I have my personal challenge now. So I have son who is teenager, like and like we have almost daily conversation what he's going to study in university. Like if you would ask me 2 years ago, I'll only, hey, you go to Waterloo and you go computer science. Now I'm not sure. Like if cloud can write the code much better than 100 developers, why you would go and study that, right? So what he's need to go and study now, like what to choose as you know as a future, and the kid, 16 years old kid, need to choose what to do in the next 20 years in a time that's it's very hard to make any decisions, right? We exactly in this moment that's everything is changing, and I found myself with all my degrees and everything, I don't know what to tell him. That's
Tell him that the future is his.
That's
oh, that's
awesome.
100%. And I'm
You know,
100% sure
it
I'm not to
really
do
is.
it. I'm 100% sure he's going to be fine. Like,
Yep.
especially
Yep.
him, his personality and everything, I'm sure he's going to be fine.
Yep.
But that's, I see that the kids talking right now, teenagers, what we go, like, they already use AI. They're much far away in AI than me. And
Mhm.
like, what we're going to do tomorrow, right? What to go and
Yeah.
study, right?
It's all emerging, and it's
It's a huge
what we allow
change.
to emerge.
It's huge change.
So as we wrap up today's discussion, I'm going to ask every one of our speakers to chime in as to what they are forecasting for 2026 in AI and cybersecurity. Where do you think this is going? Let's start with Dr. Mike Saylor.
You on mute.
I was practicing. I think we're going to see more catastrophes of some kind of operational use of AI that wasn't really thought through or didn't go as it was planned. And it's going to take those additional kind of enterprise catastrophes to really embrace and understand the idea that we've got to implement governance as soon as possible, so that as an organization we understand the risk or we prohibit it. One of the two. I've seen both sides of that already. So we either embrace it or we prohibit it. And if we embrace it, we actually do the work to understand and define the use cases for AI in our organization, what's acceptable from a tool and plug-in and behavioral perspective. What are we going to allow it to do? What's prohibited? How are we going to monitor that? How are we going to know if Alina does 50,000 files in 30 seconds? Because maybe that's not an approved use case. And what are we going to do about it? And then on the back end, from an incident response perspective, and we've already seen this to some degree too, what do we do when there's an incident and our data gets out into some public language model? How do we address the potential data breach, and who do we call to purge our data from that model? I think this is going to be the year where there's kind of an awakening of implementation, integration of AI in an enterprise space is going to be a problem if we don't govern it.
Mehri, would you like to add?
Yeah. Mary, Mary, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, actually, if I wanna add something to Dr. Mike's point of view, I can say that it would be actually, in my opinion, self-healing security architectures. I think that from a life cycle management view, in an overall view, and the conceptual view, this system continuously assess actually exposure, adapt policies, and remediate vulnerabilities autonomously. So these shifts security from reactive incident response to continuous assurance. So, from a governance view, the organizations and the actually the other stakeholders that operationalize adaptive resilience will define the next competitive advantages and advantage. And beside, I think that we need to develop more standards and law frameworks because nowadays we cannot map and justify the crimes, for example, and non-conformities to the available frameworks and legal and rules that we have already nowadays. So I think that it would be something like this, yeah.
So, Nim, where do you think 2026 is going?
I I think it's going to be a shaker for sure. As Dr. Mike said, um, I think we will need to overcome the notion of uh, or the feeling of privacy. We know our data is out there, but I think the reality is going to set in that there's 1.3 billion agents right now in the world. Like this is a statistic that was published according to uh, oh my God, I forget the governing body, but it's like one of those Forrester or something like that. They published that there's 1.3 billion agents in the world right now. So the fact that there's our data's out there, like let's stop dwelling on the privacy aspect of things, right? Um, and the second reality that's going to set in is there's no such thing as 100% security. We're going to have to come to terms with a percentage of success and a percentage of failure. And to Mary's point, with that failure, the percentage that we're allowing, that, yeah, we got hacked. Okay. How do you create that self-healing technology to adapt to a certain way that attack happened and come up with literally karate reference again, because my 5-year-old's in karate. What's the kata? What are the moves our agentic security solution needs to figure out to try to block from the same thing from happening again? And it's giving up on privacy and starting to focus more on acceptable threshold of loss.
So I think the notion that there is no 100% security is supposed to be for years because it's obvious. And when we talk about enterprise and government, they're spending millions to protect the information. But once you go to SMB market, there are companies that have so much personalized data and do literally nothing to protect it.
Yeah.
And that's the market we live in. And I see sometimes think that oh, good, I saw it. I will never use this service or this company. I think that's what Mary just said is the self-healing. So I think the code will be much more secure because we already see that software become much more secure. The AI agents are just fixing the bugs and rebuild is much faster than it was before. But on the other hand, I expect a wave of fraud based on of AI impersonation or personalized emails attack or personalized phone calls, video calls, right? That we see it already. I think it will much, much more because it's going to hit us on a personal level. And once this intruder on my laptop, I bring into my enterprise network. I think that's another kind of way of a vector of attack that's almost don't exist today, but going to be very significant in the real near future.
This is a very interesting discussion we had this evening. The attacks are becoming much more sophisticated, and the tools to mitigate and combat these and prevent these are also becoming much more sophisticated.
100%.
So I actually want to say thank you to our speakers and to our audience. And I want to invite you to follow our YouTube channel, which we have got for you in the chat. Take a look at our website, aifutureleaders.com. We are actually teaching courses. We have a course coming up in March, how to build AI agents. And we have got a Vibe prototyping course as well. So we're actually helping individuals and companies build more of these agents that we speak of. But our hope is that as humans, we're building them for good, and we're building technology that is safe and governed and ethical. So I thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, everyone.